uru, whakatakati au ki te tonga, kia mā ki niki ki kita, kia mā taratara ki tai, kia hiaki ana te atura, ki tio, he huka, he hupu, tuti whakamawa, tina, hui e, tai e. And we have apologies from Richard, Anaru and Benita, and we have Charlotte and Phil on the Zoom. So the first item on the agenda is confirmation of minutes. From my perspective, they all seem true and correct. You're happy to second that, Donna?
Yep.
All in favour?
Aye.
And we will move now to tab 6, the consents monitoring reports, and Victoria.
Through you, Chair. Morena, everybody. Today's our first tranche of compliance monitoring reports for the year. We've got 2 reports for you. Both of them had a high rating, one with Osflow and one with the Taranaki wastewater treatment plant and outfall. So if anyone's got any questions or points of clarification, I'm happy to do my best to do that.
Anybody have any questions or points of clarification? Yes, Donald.
Through you, Madam Chair. The South Taranaki one, Taranaki waste one, I see they've got some UIRs coming up later. I suppose that'll be in the next report then, does it? Or
it will, yeah. We'll be looking at that at that point.
Yeah.
I think that the council, I was actually not here last meeting, but the council requested a report on I&I across our region, which we've now have, but it was too late to present today, so we can do that at the next meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I'll have to come back.
Good to see Osprey doing well.
You will.
I can give you some highlights if you like, Bob.
Go online.
Quiet in the cheap seats, please. Councillor Cloak.
It's good to see Osflow doing well. They've had a lot of issues in the past, so they've really come to the party having a high level. So that's really pleasing to see.
Yeah.
So it's difficult for them with the odour.
Yeah, they work very hard to control it.
Well, they do seem committed to the cause. I mean, the narrative around what is in your report demonstrates that they are making all efforts, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah, they are.
Yes.
Nice to see the highs.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And was there anything else that you wanted to bring to our attention specifically?
I don't think so. No, I think that's probably pretty clear.
Yes.
So move, Madam Chair.
You move. Do I have and Tom to second? All in favour?
Aye.
Thank you. So we're on to resource consents issued under delegated authority. Leah.
Morena koutou. Between 1st and 31st of July, we issued a total of 26 consents, 5 coastal permits, 15 discharge permits, 3 land use consents and 3 water permits. The applications in progress chart shows a continued downward trend, indicating that the team is successfully continuing to reduce the backlog. And then the applications received versus decisions made chart shows that decisions are keeping a pace with incoming applications, which is helping us to prevent backlog growth in the future. Of note, we granted 3 consents for Mile Square Farms for the purpose of undertaking retrospective reclamation and realignment of a stream for the purpose of restoration and remediation following historic unauthorised stream work. So these consents are part of a remediation package following enforcement action by the compliance team for an illegal stream reclamation. The restoration works are substantial and include ecological offsets, habitat creation and long-term monitoring. I'm happy to answer any questions, but you're welcome to save the enforcement questions for Jared.
Because they came
It'd be much more fun if we asked them of you. Donna.
Oh no, it's just probably similar to what you were thinking, that it comes up later on. Are they connected, or are these before?
These are a few years ago now. Yeah, think about 3.
So this is in response to unauthorised action and
court-directed
action taken by Jared's outfit.
Yes.
So this is the fix-up.
Yes.
But it's all being funded by the owners, isn't it?
Yes, and it's quite stringent, so,
There's a lot behind it.
yeah, there's a lot behind it.
Neil?
It's an interesting thing how all of these things are falling away so much. I mean, it's not only a case of catching up, but it's also a case that it's more fewer. Is this the economic situation and people are doing things or waiting for what seems to be
I think a bit of both.
really having quite a marked account of those things. Getting to a point where we're running right out.
Yeah, through you, Chair, we do have our replacements coming up end of the year, so that increase will start coming in. But yeah, I guess things are much more complicated now and more costly, and then there's a lot of uncertainty around change and legislative changes. So some people are just waiting to see what will happen out of that.
But what you've done is be highly efficient and cleared as much of the backlog as you can, haven't you?
Yes,
Yes.
and our team have been growing and learning over the few years, so that's helped significantly.
Yep. So you've got the upskilling
Yeah.
as well. Donald?
So any external contractors involved still, or are you back down to ordinary staff now?
We only have one person from one organisation working on some historic stuff that they've been doing for a number of years and wouldn't be worthwhile to transfer over due to cost. Yeah, that's it.
So through you, Madam Chair, in my long career here, this is the best we've seen the consenting.
It looks really good.
Number of consents, capacity of the staff, and really progressive matters. So we're determined not to let them build up.
Is it possible for us to retain those staff, or is the pressure on them to be sought elsewhere as well?
There's always pressure in the system. However, there's like if you went back a couple of years, there was a lot of pressure to get staff. Now there's less pressure with all the national things that are happening and so on.
Right.
But sometimes it's difficult to attract people to Taranaki.
Anyone for any more? If not, can I have someone move that the report be accepted? Neil, and seconded by Donna. All in favour?
All right.
So moving now to item 8, incidents and compliance. And we're going to hear from Paul.
So through you, Madam Chair, we always rotate our staff. So Paul works for Jared. So this is part of building capacity within our system. So welcome, Paul.
Thank you, Tēnā koutou katoa, ko Paul Davison Takawingua. So I'm team leader compliance under Jared, look after the day-to-day runnings of the team, and I also look after the monitoring program for forestry. So if there's any forestry related questions, I'm happy to answer any of that. So as per the agenda here, so there are 62 incidents reported. 18 of the incidents were found to be compliant, 29 were non-compliant. Compliance monitoring, there were 10 compliance monitoring non-compliance reported. 5 of those are updates from the previous period, and the period being the 1st of July to 8th of August. If you have a look at the graphs there, the dip in August, between July and August, will be just down to, we've only reported on eight days in August, so that will no doubt go up. In the agenda itself, so you would have seen there's a number of slash forestry discharges, and that's there's some that are deemed compliant and some are non-compliant. The reason for that is the ones that are deemed to be compliant were found to be, it was woody debris. It wasn't. So our officers attend and try and identify what that slash is made up of, and whether it's sawn cut logs, and if it can be attributed to a forestry site. So a lot of that with that weather event in early July was there was a lot of slips, natural slips, and native and poplar and other material coming down. So there's the ones that are compliant are deemed to be natural and they're not attributed to forestry. The non-compliant ones were down to the breach of the NES for forestry, commercial forestry, which the one in particular, was Tongahoe Valley Road. The Ararata area was hit quite hard. So Tongahoe Valley Road, Moria Road, Ngawini Road. On Moria Road, there's active forestry sites out there, and so that slash was identified as coming from forestry sites. They had equipment there, and they came in straight away and removed it. So the forestry company were good in that regard. Yes, so just any questions?
One of the questions I have is that there always seems to me to be themes in those that are coming to your attention. For instance, we seem to have a lot of fires around the summer
Yes.
where people are burning things they shouldn't be. And now, this time of the year, we seem to have a lot of diggers and the like in waterways and just rearranging things just a tiny bit. And I wondered whether there's an interface between you and comms trying to get ahead of that and remind people of what the rules are.
Yes, we do that at times, like you say, with fires. Like when we come into the summer season, we do like to get comms out in relation to fires and making sure people know what the rules are.
Do you think there'd be some value in trying to do that regarding unauthorised walks in waterways and the like? Because it seems to be a theme for this lot of non-compliance, and I just wonder whether there is some value in pushing the message.
Yeah, absolutely.
So enforcement includes education, so yes,
Yeah.
we can do that.
Yeah.
But that rubbish, backyard rubbish, that's happening all the time, especially in the summer, isn't it?
Well, but that's what I'm meaning, that if we had some
I
kind of
agree.
advertising campaign about now, or mind you, it hasn't stopped raining yet,
No.
you know, perhaps when it stops raining, about that. But similarly, there seems to be a theme of unauthorised earthworks, and yet these are people, by and large, that when your people get in touch with them, Paul,
Yes.
immediately move to be compliant, make applications, and you're not
Yeah,
getting
absolutely.
a hardcore of people saying, you know, I'm not doing what you say. They're getting on with it. So if we could avoid them getting into trouble in the first place,
Yes.
then that would be even more efficient, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense, and we do like to do that too. Because a lot of people don't go out to break the rules; they just don't know what the rule is. Yeah.
But either, Madam Chair, do some of those people read
Yes.
educational material? So
Well, so,
They
and
might
to be
watch a fun video.
yeah, and to be fair, we get bombarded with so much information these days. It's very easy to skip through your emails and not trouble yourself with reading them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Donald.
Through you, Madam Chairman, obviously that early July rain events had a big impact, urban as well as rural. You know, are we treating the urban discharges with the same veracity as we do the rural ones? And how many of those wood slash ones were compliant before the rain, and then as the rain has come, the earth movement has just taken the trash with it, which
Yeah. There was a lot of waterlogged land, and like a lot of those sites would have been compliant, deemed to be compliant by the look of it. That the slash was in a position where it looked stable ground. But then, if there's a dowel,
adverse event.
then it's
and through you, Madam Chair, we treat urban and rural absolutely the same.
Donna.
I just noticed lots of the same people getting caught up, and one was our friend from that had the, is that more? Is that mile?
it's Mile Square Farm. So
Mr. Boyd.
Dave Boyd, Colin Boyd.
Because there was another 2 or 3 in there.
So
They knew.
he's got the enforcement order that was talked about earlier. That was a court order to to get the consents to repair those.
But
stream
then there
works.
was more events, wasn't there, in July? I think, in Ops and
He gets
Recs
frequent
area
flyer
was-
points, don't you know?
Pardon?
He gets frequent flyer points.
So through you, Madam Chair, we run all these incidents through our enforcement policy.
So he's just doing more.
He's a very unique individual.
Yeah.
I think we need to leave that for.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
But there were some others like Ample, they were 2 or 3, and then all the district councils had a tune, more than one tune, which I've talked to Fred about.
That's with the sewage discharges.
Yeah,
So that will be reported on next council
thank
meeting.
you.
Yeah. In Ample Group, yes, they had 2 non-compliances in relation to irrigators. So there's enforcement action there in regards to abatement notice being issued to get back within their consent conditions. So there's some infrastructure they need to upgrade.
Thank you.
I've got a question, if I may.
Yes.
Just the vegetation clearance on Surrey Road, it was quite large at 3 hectares, and now I see there's no further action.
So through you, Madam Chair, we had to weigh up, the key factor there was defining whether that was a wetland or not. And so we made a decision on the balance of the material we had before us to not progress that because of the cost of determining whether it was a wetland or not, and given the results of recent court cases where the bar has been set very, very high in terms of evidence required and the expertise of those doing the work.
Through you, Chair, Fred, even if it wasn't a wetland, are you able to go in and just clear 3 hectares of native bush? And I'm sorry, Fred, but can you speak up a little bit, please?
So feeding to the backs of you. Mr. Glasgow.
We're just waiting, Phil, for Jared to...
Kia ora, hopefully you can hear me. So the vegetation clearance part, Taranaki Regional Council has some rules around the slope of land that vegetation clearance is carried out on, requiring consents due to erosion. Vegetation clearance in itself, outside of a natural inland wetland, is a function for district councils. So whether you can or not clear native vegetation or any vegetation is to do with whatever the plan is in the district council to which that area, to which that works has been taken. In this case, there was no protection. It wasn't a significant natural area, which are protected by district plans, and the district plan didn't have any rules that would restrict that vegetation clearance in those circumstances. So we engaged with district council about that a number of times, but yeah, there's no rules for them. That's right on the boundary. Other side of the stream is Stratford District Council, and they may have different rules.
Oh, well, thank you for the clarification. It just seems like that was quite an aged block of bush that was cleared. It wasn't scrub. So, but thank you for your clarification on that.
It was something we definitely looked into because I guess, yeah, we thought similar to start with, but that's the way it fell.
Any further questions?
Through you, Madam Chair.
Oh, yes, Donald.
Just the high rainfall event obviously created a lot of issues for effluent disposal for urban areas. And I know they're putting a lot of effort into minimising the infill of stormwater into their sewage system, but would it obviously, if they had some storage at their pump stations or whatever, so you know, for emergency purposes, etc., would that alleviate some of these issues, or do we just live with what we get?
Madam Chair, can I perhaps comment? There are new national standards being developed to cover overflows in these issues, which we did lodge submissions on through Te Mata Arawai, that will override regional council plans rules as part of that process. So there is a whole bunch of new rules coming
So they'll be
for
permitted.
how they are to permit and the conditions in which they permit. And clearly, key part of the issue in there is about the level of, I'll use the words resilience you build into your networks. And obviously that also changes depending on the level of development within a particular subcatchment, particularly where you have intensification of development occurring within an existing area and quite aged infrastructure where pipes and pump stations will not have capacity built to allow for intensification. And there's also then a real issue about, and even when you do the proactive monitoring and compliance to get, for example, downpipes out of gully traps and go back 3 months later, hello, the downpipe's back in the gully trap. So it's one of those perennial issues where there are no simple, magic, easy answers, but the development of consistent national standards will help create a more consistent playing field across the country, which is why that works underway with Te Maraharawa. Yeah,
because from just a layman's look at it, it looks like it's basically over a very short space of time that the facilities can't get rid of the waste, and whether a storage facility, like a bladder like we do on the farm, for those times to store it until they've got capacity back in the system to get rid of it, rather than discharge it.
Yeah, and look, you get into issues around continuity of power supply and all those issues, particularly when you get into the heavy storm events. And again, it becomes about how much are you prepared to invest in that whole network, which is pretty large, usually spread, again, depending on topography, which has a big influence on numbers of pump stations and all the rest of it, are all issues that have to be thought through very carefully in the design process. But as I said, one of the biggest issues is often intensification of development, and of course we are getting changes that is enabling and allowing that intensification to happen in the urban areas, driven by government requirements, particularly with the new MBS urban development rules coming. So it's a dynamic area that's changing, and a balancing between affordability.
And some of those areas like Waitara, Eltham, Inglewood, Hawara, they all do have storage. They do all have contingencies.
Yes.
This one led a long rainfall event, which a lot of their storage and contingencies and contingency consents were largely full or getting full. And then we had effectively the 48 hours worth of intense rain, which their contingencies were largely using. So I guess it's how much storage and changing climate do we need these days, and costs.
So what you're saying is that with climate change, the contingencies may not be adequate for the weather patterns we're seeing.
100%, and it's the cost-benefit analysis. Is the community willing to build one for a 120-year rainfall event? It may not be used.
You mean the kind that happens every other week?
Yeah, those.
That's what I'm thinking.
I can never understand.
But I suppose the balance to that is what environmental effect is it having some of those overflows because of the high flows at the time of the overflow.
Donna?
Surely some of this, the new developments that are happening, aren't they allowing now for extra for stormwater? And, surely we're getting better at this. Christ.
Brave assumption.
Oh, well, it's just ridiculous.
So, Madam Chair, we were going to bring a report to the next meeting, given your earlier interest in this, so it'll be another opportunity for you to understand the dynamic situation.
That really helped. Thanks, Reed.
Anyone for any more?
Thank you.
Mike?
Different subject, Chair?
Sure.
Okay. Just the issue there on waste management, the rubbish along the stream bank. What are the issues behind that? And also, MPDC, a responsible party, what's their attitude to this?
What number are we talking about?
Waste management.
Waste management? What? Rubbish along the stream bank?
From the...
So there were complaints from neighbouring businesses regarding rubbish, whether it be wind-blown rubbish along the riverbank, bird activity in the rubbish and then dropping it, and possibility of odour. So we engaged with waste management and So ourselves and New Plymouth District Council had a meeting with them, told them the concerns. We began a monitoring program to address those, to see whether there was an odour issue. So we took lead in regards to that. So I had compliance staff go out 2 visits a week for 6 weeks, randomly, and did odour surveys, and Waste Management also undertook to up their monitoring themselves. So have someone walking the boundary, picking up rubbish, and made some changes to cut down some vegetation to the side, so make it easier access for them, for their staff. So the result of that was that we did the monitoring. So short term, the rubbish is less happening there. Bird activity is still an issue. So MPDC acknowledged that that's their issue under the Health Act. Birds taking rubbish, dropping it on other properties, and also bird droppings. The long-term plan for Waste Management is they're putting some investment into their capital, into their infrastructure, to look at covering the pit, and that would address the birds. So what we established from our monitoring was that the odour is not an issue. It's an industrial area, and there is the odd bit of rubbish odour, but it's not wasn't deemed objectionable. Rubbish has been the changes that Waste Management have made have reduced the rubbish, but the bird activity is still the issue, which won't be addressed until they put that capital investment into their infrastructure.
So the MPDC are providing an update. Have they done that yet or not?
I'm unsure, actually, MPDC. So we've kept in contact with Waste Management and MPDC. MPDC, I'm not sure where they're at with communications.
Should we check that out?
So this has been a long-standing matter that we've finally made some progress on, thanks to Jared Glasgow, and so the matter's going to be addressed after lots of past discussions about responsibilities and so on and so on. So the District Council are going to address it with Waste Management.
Well, it might be useful for it to remain on the agenda then as a bring-up item, if that's acceptable to you guys.
Yep.
And that way we can, it doesn't disappear.
We can keep parties updated. The capital is, although it's a longer term solution, it's an immediate solution. I expect some significant site establishment and capital upgrades within the next few months. So they're actively working to it. It's not a 2-year, 3-year, 4-year plan. It's coming. It's just they get a few things in order and a couple of required consents, and it should be all go. But we'll keep it on the agenda.
Thank you. Anybody for any more?
Yes, Chair, I've got a conflict with Ravenstown.
So can I have someone move that we receive the recommendations? Neil moved, Craig second, all in favour?
All right.
Now, before we move into public excluded, this is the final meeting of this committee for this term of the council, and it's an appropriate opportunity to thank the officers and the committee members for their contributions over the last 3 years. So thank you all. Now we'll move into public excluded, and we need to take a minute or two to do that to get down the live stream. Oh, at least we need to move and second that we're going from. Tom, will you move? I'll second. And we're good to go.